Well, good evening, everyone. This is JC from Beyond the Call of Duty, representing End of Watch, Right to Remember. To my EOW family, love you all. Just following up and giving you information today for this last week. Hope you had a wonderful week. Hope you've been safe and got a chance to enjoy time with family and get out of the house a little bit. To our new viewers, thanks for joining in and watching us. We try to do weekly updates. Today we've got two special guests. I've got retired Chief of Police Lauren Culp, and I have Sheriff Robert Saunders out of Klickitat. I'll get into that in a second. Want to really let everyone know we need to thank our sponsors. Let's give out a huge shout out to our platinum sponsor, Phoenix Protective Corporation, based out of Spokane, Washington. They're the reason why we're sitting here. I want to reach out to another new sponsor called VetSec, Veteran Services Security. They became a sponsor as of yesterday. Also, Greg and Holly with Lone Wolf Harley, based out of Spokane, Washington. I want to reach out and thank them for our sponsorship. Jason Gray with New American, right there, branch manager, New American. If you need a loan, a refi, please contact Jason Gray. He's a heck of a gentleman and a great sponsor for us. I want to really thank Kurt D. Bruce Company, LLC, out of Black Diamond. They provided us lighting and equipment for our motorcycles. Want to really reach out to Simpson Performance Products. They gave us these phenomenal helmets this year and are going to be sponsoring us continuing next year. Want to reach out to Garda World Security Company nationwide. They became a sponsor for us this week. And let's not forget Yolks Fresh Fruits and Fresh Foods Market, based out of Spokane, Washington, and Jewelry Design Center, based out of Spokane, Washington. If you need to get something for a loved one for Valentine's or just to say hey, reach out, call Jewelry Design Center, based in Spokane, Washington. They've got a phenomenal selection of jewelry. Our first guest is going to be Lauren Culp. He's retired. He was a chief of police until just last year, or this year, I believe. It was this year. He's retired now. So how you doing, Chief?
I'm doing great, JC. Thanks for having me on your show.
No, thank you so much. Thanks for being over on our show. Brought you on just to let everyone know who you are as a person. You're a great friend of mine. Got to meet you and got to know you a few years ago, and just appreciate you. Got a lot of love for you and talk about a few things in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm honored to be on End of Watch show. I was really honored that you invited me to ride on the first leg of the ride last year. That was awesome. I look forward to hopefully riding a lot further this time.
Absolutely. June 1, we've got 200 departments we're going to visit this year for 328 officers, 200 departments. Can you believe that?
That's way too many.
It is way too many. Yeah, I mean, we did 93 departments last year in 68 days, and I don't even know how we're going to do 200 departments this year. So
well, if I know anybody can, it's you and End of Watch. You guys,
appreciate that.
I mean, stepping up and honoring these officers like that, it's amazing. It really needs to be done, and I'm glad to call you my friend, and I appreciate you doing that for officers.
Same here, Chief. Same here. Well, you sent me something a while back, and you know I finished reading it, and I just want everyone to know, if you guys get a chance, get on to Lauren Culp's American Cop. It was Amazon's bestseller for weeks on end. It's a phenomenal book. Chief, if you want to dive in and talk about this.
Well, you bet. You know, a few years ago, as most people in Washington State know, I stood up against an anti-gun initiative. I firmly believe in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and that they are given to us by our Creator, by God, not by the government, right? So I stood up against that as chief of police and said I was not going to violate citizens' rights. Ended up being on the national news, and I wrote a book called American Cop. Became a #1 bestseller, and that kind of led me down the path to running for governor of Washington State last year. Ran for about a year and a half, actually, campaigning. Got to meet all kinds of salt of the earth people all across this state, people that defend our rights, that stand up for the police. And it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Wow, a whole year and a half on the road running the governor's race.
Yes, it was about a year and a half.
A lot of miles.
But like I said, we touched every corner of this state, everywhere in the middle, and talking to real citizens, real people, real patriotic people that support our military and our police. And it was an honor for me to do that, and it's an honor for me to be involved, just being on this show and going on the ride
Right.
for End of Watch, to honor the police officers that have given everything, and their families that have lost a loved one. I can only imagine the pain, but to honor them the way that you guys do, put all their pictures on that trailer and travel around the United States, escorted by you and others on motorcycles. It's amazing. It really touches my heart, and I know that the families and the departments all across the United States that you guys visit, I know that they appreciate it very much.
And I was going to touch on that, Chief, because as a chief of police, you've seen death, you've seen life, you've seen emotional impact done on fellow officers. You've dealt with emotional impacts with stuff that's happened in your life. When I got to bring the trailer out and show it to you, and I was pretty proud of it. What was your first take on it when you saw it?
Well, honestly, I had to fight back the tears, especially seeing the pictures and video of you guys traveling around the United States, and, mothers bringing their little kids, their 3 or 4 or 5-year-old kids. And, especially the images of that little child reaching up to touch their father or their mother's picture. It just really tugs at the heartstrings, and it just brings home the fact that police officers put their life on the line every single day to protect their community, to protect where they work and where they live, and we need to honor them like this. And so anybody that's listening, we need to support this cause. It's very, very needed and very worthwhile. We hear all the time on the left-wing media that police officers are the problem, but police officers are not the problem. Police officers go to work every single day, and the only thing they have in their mind is to protect their community, do their job the best they can, and make it home safely at the end of the shift. And sadly, a lot of them don't, and it's getting worse. So we need to honor them just like you guys are doing.
Yeah, and that's really what our mission, Chief, is. That these men and women, they didn't sign up to be a police officer to become a millionaire or to have this dream that they were going to live in the Bahamas at the end of their tour. Police officer's paycheck is not that much. It's not,
Right.
You don't become rich overnight, or you don't even become rich unless you dabble in stocks or something else. The retirement it's a small retirement.
I can tell you that for a fact.
Absolutely, you sure can.
Yeah.
And so,
But it's not about that.
Yeah, it's not. It's this value that they have. And, just like in any industry, we're always going to have bad apples. Always. Any industry. And, 99.9% of these men and women wholeheartedly are doing this out of the love that they have to protect and help the citizens of America. And that's what they're doing it for.
And I'll tell you, that 0.1% that you just mentioned that are bad apples, no one wants to get them out of law enforcement more than other law enforcement. Not the community, not the politicians. They like to get on TV and talk about it. But I'll tell you what, no one wants them out of law enforcement more than the good people, the 99.9% that are good police officers.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, we're adding a few components this year to Beyond the Call of Duty. And please, Chief, if you're available, we'd love to have you. We're going to be doing, starting in February, we're going to be doing a Friday night special. February 12th is going to be our first kickoff. We are going to go to Spokane Police Department at a location that they choose. We're going to do it at 8 o'clock at night, and we're going to feed all the graveyard members. We're bringing a food truck with us. We're going to feed all the graveyard members that normally get left out. We're going to feed all of the communication, bless their hearts, all the dispatches and the comms that without them, we couldn't do our job.
Right.
We're inviting the sheriff's office and the state patrol. And just, as a thank you to them and for what they do, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this throughout the state of Washington over the months. So if you want to jump in, please let us know. We're going to love having you there with us.
Absolutely. When is that?
February 12th is the first one that we're going to kick off.
All right.
And then we'll probably do a second one towards the end of the month. I haven't figured out where we're going to do the second one yet, but I'll definitely get you all the information.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, JC.
So one other question, you mentioned you were on the road for 13 months running as for governor of Washington State. In that time, how often did you see negativity towards law enforcement?
I was actually on the road for 16 months. Negativity towards law enforcement, unless I turned on the news, I didn't see any. The people that came to our rallies, that came to the meet and greets that I saw all over Washington State, 100% behind law enforcement. That's the vast majority of people. They love and honor our police officers. And what we see on the news media is obviously not that. It's opposite. But
yeah, absolutely. And that's our message our message to law enforcement is again, just like bad apples, we've got a percentage of citizens that just don't like law enforcement, but it's just a small percentage. The majority loves law enforcement. We love what they stand for. We love what they do. Without them, we would have carnage and chaos everywhere.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. They work in the communities that they live in. They care about their communities. So anytime that there's something bad going on, when you hear gunshots, the police are running towards it. When someone needs help, the police are going there. We need to obviously get rid of some bad politicians in different places that are in charge of those police departments and tie their hands. We need to work more on tying the hands of the criminals and letting our police officers do their job, do the job that they're trained to do and want to do and signed up to do, and start tying the hands of those politicians instead of police officers.
Yeah, it was ironic. 2 weeks ago, I was talking to a good friend of mine that's an investigator out of the Seattle area, and he had a case where his particular business that he works for got robbed. They identified the person by the video cameras and found out that this same person had robbed 4 other businesses in the surrounding area. And they called the local law enforcement, Seattle Police Department, and Seattle Police Department basically said, I'm sorry, we cannot arrest him and book him. They gave him a citation to appear in court on a felony robbery charge. And it's just, you're tying law enforcement's hands, you're tying citizens' hands, good citizens, and it's just ridiculous. And these officers definitely need some help and love from everybody, and just to be reminded that they are loved and we do care about them.
Absolutely. That's why elections are important. You need to pay attention to who is getting elected as your prosecuting attorney, your mayor, and right on down the line, county commissioners, because we need people in charge of those departments that deal with those criminals that are pro-law enforcement and pro-citizen, right? Because if you're pro-law enforcement, you are pro-citizen. Instead of releasing these people like they do all the time, that's absolutely ridiculous. People need to be put in jail, and they need to pay for their crime. That's the only way that you cut down on crime. You know, if you allow bad behavior, you're going to get more and more bad behavior. And that's what a lot of prosecutors, a lot of mayors, a lot of county commissioners around this state and around this country, they allow it. And
Yes,
it's ridiculous.
Yes, they do. Well, we're going to look forward for you coming on board with us June 1. We want you as long as possible. Come with us, share the ride, share our Facebook, stay in touch with us. I definitely like
Absolutely.
to see you February 12th if you can make it. And God love for you. Thank you for coming on board today. And you be safe and stay safe out there.
Thank you very much, JC. God bless you guys and what you're doing.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Love you. Well, guys, that was retired Chief Loren Culp. Phenomenal individual. I got to meet him. I've got to know him, and just amazed at the personality, the person he is. I have not seen him sway or waver at his beliefs and his right to fight. And so if you get a chance, pick up his book. It's on Amazon, I believe. It's called The American Cup. It's by Loren Culp. It's also been forwarded by Ted Nugent. That's got a great forward in here. So get a chance, pick it up, read it. It's good reading material. You'll learn something in there. I learned some stuff that I didn't even know about the Constitution. So it's good reading material. Our next guest I'd like to bring on, well, actually, before I do that, I'm going to pop the map on to show you the route for this year. This is our map. This is every single place we're going to go. We're going to go to 200 departments representing 328 officers. It starts June 1 out of Spokane, Washington, and we will end in Spokane, Washington. I don't have an end date yet, but there's our beautiful map. It's a country within a country. So share us, follow us, like us, comment on us. Our new our new web page is almost ready. It's going to be up. It's been in the works for the last 2 weeks, and we're going to have a section for not only survivors but anybody that would like to share their stories. So please share your stories. They'll be shared amongst everybody, survivors and officers. So take a chance, get a chance. Definitely go on our new page. Take a look. We've got some new merchandise coming up, and we're always looking for new sponsors. So, it's been interesting on the sponsor world where else are you going to get the opportunity to go to over 44 states, advertise your product, talk about your product, and do a worthy cause. This money isn't spent buying luxury dinners or luxury hotel rooms or Lamborghinis. This money is going towards survivors. This money is going towards departments that could use some extra funding. We helped a fraternal order just recently that was a little short on funding for a marker for one of their fallen. So, that's what we're here for, is whatever we can do. Our next guest, 50 years. Can you believe this? Almost 51, but he has been in a law enforcement commission capacity for 50 years. That is how old I am. I turned 51 this year. When I was born, he was a police officer. Again, I just get baffled as why would anyone even stay in this job at this time, in this era? And he's been doing it for 50 years. I met him last year. I was blessed to meet him once, and then I got to meet him about 6 or 7 more times. And every time I knew I was going to meet him, I got excited. Phenomenal individual, and his wife is just a phenomenal person. Both of them are I'm blessed to know them. So I'm going to introduce you to Robert Saunders with Klickitat and Fran. Hi, guys.
Hi, JC.
How are you both?
Good.
Good. How is COVID treating you guys?
We're ducking it.
Yeah.
Well, Sheriff, I was just talking about you a little bit, and I mean, just still, even today, I'm still amazed over 50 years and you're still at it. You still carry a gun. You still have a badge. You're still out there arresting, helping, mentoring. I mean, let's talk about you.
Well, first of all, I want to mention to you, JC, for all you do.
Yes.
And it means a lot.
Yes.
And your last guest on there, Lauren Colt, I consider an outstanding individual, an outstanding patriot, and he's a police chief that brings honor to law enforcement. And I consider him a very good friend as well as you. And yeah, we got to go on those campaign deals where Lauren was running for governor, and we enjoyed every bit of it. The opportunity to meet with everybody, like-minded folks that support the Constitution, which is a rule of law for the land. And but going back to 50 years, you can't change old dogs, I guess. Yeah, I'm old school. But I got to say, in the 50 years, there's been tremendous change in law enforcement. And unfortunately, not all of it for the good. And I think we're in for some rough rides here in the near future, from what I understand, maybe coming out of legislature in reforming law enforcement as they see it. And it kind of goes into what Lauren was talking about, is that you've got a group of folks who hate police, don't like authority, want to defund the police, and do away police. And the only people really going to be happy if all of that is accomplished, JC, is the bad guy. The
Absolutely.
bad guy's going to be tickled pink. He'll be able to get away with all kinds of crime and stuff without fear of apprehension, first place, and probably without fear of being prosecuted. So it is a real concern. I've stuck in 50 years in law enforcement because it's something I love doing, And but we're talking about families that, and Franny here, my wife, she's part of the club of ladies that Women Behind the Badge, supporting the badge, and they do an outstanding job and supporting law enforcement and their husbands, their boyfriends, their significant others, so forth. And I can't say enough good about them. They're part of the organization here in Klickitat County, and I'm very proud of them. They do, and I, over the years, 50 years, I had a very good friend of mine. A guy, an officer, was shot and killed in the line of duty. I got there right after he was still laying in the middle of the road, shot through the head with a .45, and I can tell you, still gets to me to this day. And that was in 1976. His wife and child went through hell, but the fellow deputies in the department, families, gathered around him and supported him. And I don't mean to choke up like that.
No.
It's kind of being a wimp, being an old wimp at that. But anyway, I've seen it with my own eyes over the years. I had a friend, another officer, who was involved in a search warrant, was involved in a shooting. He ended up taking a person's life in this shooting because it looked like the guy was going under his coat jacket for a gun to shoot the officer when they entered the house. Turned out the guy had a Leatherman, not a gun, but a Leatherman. Had a weapon, but not a gun.
Yeah.
It was found to be a justifiable shooting. Of course, the headlines, the media just made a mockery out of it. Officer shoots unarmed person, that type of thing. And he got through the coroner's inquest and it was justifiable. But what the media didn't follow, JC, was his life after that.
Absolutely.
He ended up being an alcoholic, got fired from the job, ended up divorced. His life was ruined. Literally. God, I can't believe I'm a ball baby today. His life was actually ruined because of those activities. So even reaching that far back in and my career, it still brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the emotion and the problems that causes families. And thank God for folks like yourself, JC, and others who will give support
Absolutely.
to those families. And,
Sheriff, we just had a viewer write in. He says, Robert, my dad died in the line of duty in 1966, and your emotion helps me know that fallen officers are not forgotten, no matter how they lost their lives. So, again, that's what we're doing this for. You know, we started this program. We want to honor those because you know, you've lost deputies, you've lost officers you've known that are near and dear to you.
right?
And I just wanted to get the message out to all of our families in blue across the U.S. that they're not alone, that the departments are not alone. We each hurt in our own way. We each lose in our own way. But our goal as Beyond the Call of Duty is we want to remember every single one of them. We want we want to know their stories. We want to know their survivors. We want them to know we're going to think about them 365. We're not going to forget about them. And, you know, the media can say what they want to, but for us, it's the matter of who these people were. They're not just a number. They're not just a badge number. They have a name. They have a life. They have a family. And people carry on in society. There's absolutely no what else is happening. You know, the officer died, but what's going on with their survivors?
Exactly.
How difficult, how difficult. I mean, it's already bad enough having a single parent working. Now you have a single parent that has to deal. I know we were on the ride last year, and Eddie Gomez, his partner out of Colorado, got killed. But they lost an RV. He lost the RV that they had bought. He lost the truck that they had bought just for financial reasons. And there's just so much difficulty out there that people don't remember. They just carry on. They're just, well, okay, that's just another dead officer.
Yeah.
That's not what it is. These are human beings. So.
Yeah, each one of those is to chip away from the flag, every time an officer loses their life. It's a sad situation, and like Lauren indicated, Chief Culp, like he indicated, JC, is that, it's getting more and more. You're seeing it every night on the news almost, that where this officer was shot in Tennessee, or 3 officers shot in Texas. And it's throughout the country, and it's getting to be, when there's songs or when there's themes, when do you want to kill a cop now, those kind of
right.
things. That sends a very negative message to people that don't have any respect for authority to start with,
Right.
And then they seem to get rewarded for that type of behavior,
Right.
and it just fuels the fire. And it's a tough deal, and thank God that we feel very blessed here in Klickitat County. I have 150 posse members, volunteers. I've got 10 reserves, volunteers. I've got 6 pilots that fly for us at no cost to the taxpayer, volunteers. We have a lot of community policing and volunteer in our community, and that helps the support of the law enforcement. Fortunately, in Klickitat County, in most areas of the county, I can go down the street and my deputies or whatever, and you'll have people come, thanks for what you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah. And I just wish we could do that everywhere. I wish it could be done everywhere. 10 years ago, it was like that, where you could walk in somewhere and you'd be thanked for the job that you're doing. And that's just not the case. And I'm hoping we can make a difference and just remind people the humanity behind the badge. They're all humans. That's it. They're all humans.
Well, and you said it, JC, and it's true. Every profession or job or people that are working, there's always somebody that's a bad apple.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And I can tell you in my 50 years and a large number of those years in top management positions, I've had to let bad apples go and had no qualms about doing that because I'll keep it clean. But when my impression is when you have a bad police officer, what that officer has done is crapped on the badge, literally.
Absolutely.
Tarnished the badge and the reputation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you
Well,
don't tolerate those folks.
Absolutely. Well, Fran, I would like to reach out to you from beyond the call. I'd like to work something out where we bring the trailer and maybe do a community day in your hometown with your organization.
Oh, that would
And
be great. Yes.
yeah, and let's take care of the law enforcement there and
Oh, yeah.
give a thank you to them.
Yes, that'd be great, JC. We'd be glad to do that. You bet.
We'd honor it.
Yes, it'd be a great honor to do that.
It's our honor. It's our honor. Well, again, Sheriff, I got just like I told Chief Culp there, and even our viewers. I've met you in person about 6-7 times, and I consider you very close, and you are an inspiration for me to get out and do this every day.
Well, thank you, JC. You're a loyal friend as far as we're concerned.
Yes.
And we look forward to meeting with you and doing
See you.
activities with you. And it'd be a real honor. It really
Yes.
would. And I know there'd be a bunch of happy law enforcement people in
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for your time. Bless you both. I love you.
Thank
Be
you.
safe out there, and we'll chat soon.
God
Okay,
bless.
God bless you.
Thank you. Again, I just amazed. 50 years in this industry. Tough. And Fran going out there and supporting the badge, blue badge and blue lines, and doing all of the community stuff. So, you know what? It's that's what drives us to do what we do. Beyond the Call is about that. It's recognizing officers. It's recognizing departments. It's letting them know that they are loved, that they're not alone in this fight. Our survivors, you're not alone. We're not in the same shoes, but we care about you, and you're always going to be in our hearts. And whatever we can do, we will move mountains to make it happen. So June 1's our kickoff. We've got a few specials that we're going to do before then. The trailer is being wrapped as we speak, and our second trailer is getting wrapped after that. Love you guys all. Stay tuned next week. I'll give you an update on sponsors. I don't know what guests we're going to have next week, but Lance is always up to his shenanigans and getting somebody or something. The map should be up on our webpage, the brief map, and then we'll have an outline of every single stop that we're going to do, locations, times, after the departments have been notified. And love you all from Beyond the Call. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed weekend, and be safe out there. God bless you all.